what we're referring to as, can everybody hear me? Okay. What we're referring to as development-related permits and services, a fee schedule. So the goal of this document is to provide a consolidated space in which the development community, residents that may have an application or a request of either the community development, the building, the public works, or the Main Street offices of, permits and service fees that might be required, to have that in one place, to have council adopt it via a resolution, to have it on our website, and to revisit it annually. So it's just a good practice to have all these things in one spot, and also to update it on an annual basis. So that's the effort here. In the document that is provided in your council packets, as well as I have printouts here for council members, and trying to project at a legible way for the audience here on the board. Anything that is in red is new. This is a new proposal. Anything that is in black, this is existing fees, okay? So with that, I'll kind of get started. One of the things, these fees and this fee schedule is really tied to staff time and review time. So that's why we have these fees established. And one of the things that I've run into in the past 2 years is that we keep getting resubmittals of applications. Like we'll talk to somebody about, okay, here's what you need, here's what needs to be included, but it just keeps coming back to us with omissions. So this first idea of any resubmittals after the second submittal will incur a resubmittal fee of 50%. So it's not something that happens a lot, but this is kind of us saying to, the public or to the development community, please make sure that you get your application right and in total, because if we have to revisit it more than 2 times, there'll be an additional fee. Okay. The conceptual plat. So some of you may have followed our overhaul of our subdivision ordinance. What we've done in a major residential subdivision now is we've broken it apart into really 3 phases. This first phase is known as a conceptual plat. So what we're doing here is we're adding a fee for that application review. Currently, we do not have a fee or a fee schedule to actually levy that fee when we get a conceptual plat application. And those of you that followed the Ryan Homes application, that conceptual plat, we didn't have fees, so we didn't charge them. So it's just kind of, I'm trying to pick up some pieces here and codify some things in this fee schedule. Okay. The preliminary plat fee is, as it always has been, it's based on the number of lots. The final plat fee is, as it always has been, based on the number of lots. Now I'm going to move down to the engineering review. So as I had said earlier, this is a joint and collaborative document amongst Public Works, Building, Planning, and the Main Street office. So in engineering review, when our fees were originally established, this was really a review meant for a large-scale subdivision. So you even see it in the notes, like 1 to 9 lots is $1,000, over 50 lots is $3,500. So what we're embarking upon now, and you see it there in red underneath this engineering review graph or table, is a site plan application. So site plan applications are not large-scale residential development like you would see in a conceptual, preliminary, or final plat. These are, think about it as one site that is doing a commercial development. So like, for example, a new gas station would, that's a bad example, let me rephrase. If you're a permitted use in, say, our commercial zone, let's take a hotel. That is a permitted use. You don't need a special use permit. You don't come before the commission. You don't come before council. But you still need to show us your parking, your lighting, your landscaping, your building, your layout, your ingress, your egress, your hydrology, your stormwater, your drainage. That's all in a site plan. So it's not a major residential subdivision, but it is commercial development, and it needs to all be seen on a site plan. This application is not for a new single-family home. But any of you who have built your home, you're familiar with a site plan that you need to provide with your building permit. Not that. This is if you're building a new hotel, right? This is the level of design and engineering work that needs to go into that type of development. Now, many communities require a site plan application to come before the commission and council. We don't do that. It's handled administratively. So this now enables us to charge the fee to do that review. In the past, what we have been doing is we've been treating site plan applications as a single lot in a residential subdivision. So this engineering review up here of 1 to 9 lots is $1,000. That's what we've been doing. Okay, so that's kind of where that fee came from. The most recent example would be the Santa Maria. That came to the venue up here on Osborne and Church. That came to us as a site plan application, and that was the fee that we charged. Okay, so looking to codify that. The special use permit, it is one of our more expensive applications. It is $625. That is a planning commission item and a council item. It used to come with a $300 annual renewal. We don't do that anymore. We're taking that off the books. So this fee schedule is officially removing that annual renewal of $300. Another new item is a zoning verification letter. Whenever there are major, especially commercial real estate transactions, law firms or title research firms or zoning national firms will either put in an open records request to get some information from us, but inevitably they're looking for the development director or one of our planning staffs to say, well, what does that mean? Right? So not the search for the document, that's an open records request, but putting together what that means on a property and verifying its zoning entitlements or anything like that in an official letter. That's a zoning verification letter, that's a request, and our suggestion here is that we charge a fee for that because that does take substantial time on my part and on the planning staff's time. This row permit should be written out to read right-of-way permit. Those in public works should, review driveway permits or anything that will encroach within the right-of-way. And so this is an opportunity to establish that permit and establish the fee. Any questions? I know I'm kind of going through this, okay? Please stop me if you have any questions. The sidewalk cafe permit. This is on the books. We don't have a fee associated with it. This will come before you, hopefully in September, maybe October, for the creative uses of the right-of-way. If you remember that initiative, we've been kind of trying to move it forward. It's got a lot of support from a lot of, our development authorities, our Historic Preservation Commission, our Main Street office, our downtown businesses. This is something that we're kind of all getting behind. Part of that requirement will be a couple of things. The sidewalk cafe permit and all of its required materials, which include an indemnification agreement, proof of liability insurance, a little sketch of the site and how they're using it. These are all things that come with that cafe permit, and then that would be brought to council in order to get that encroachment license. So a couple of moving parts in order to make that happen, and this permit is one of those parts.
So would that permit be supersede and be in lieu of the right-of-way permit, or they pay both?
No, it would be in addition to. It would come before, and then it would be part of the package that comes to you. Because right now, that cafe permit is reviewed by the planning staff.
So they would be paying both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Do we charge anything for an encroachment license? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. All right, here's a new one, a retroactive certificate of appropriateness. So in the historic district guidelines and in our regulations, the community development director does have the authority to stop work. I think that in certain circumstances can be a very harsh approach. There are schedules, there are timeframes, there are crew, it's hard to get crew. I mean, I try to be very understanding of these instances, but at this point in time, we have a very engaged Historic Preservation Commission. It's fully seated. All the seats are full. We're thinking about redoing the design guidelines. We're seeking ways to help with the historic marker signs. Like, we've just got a very active and engaged commission. And so when work does happen within the historic district that does not have a certificate of appropriateness, there's some discontent, to be honest. And I think that this retroactive certificate of appropriateness is a way to kind of have the property owner come back in, explain what work was done to the commission, and in that there would be a fee. The proposal here is $1,000. And why are we doing that? We're doing that because it involves quite a bit of smoothing over, right? The work was done, we acknowledge that, we're made aware of it, have to bring folks, back in after the fact, have them present the work, have the commission kind of have that understanding. So that's a proposal that we're putting out there. The building permit applications are essentially the same. Electrical, mechanical, plumbing permits are the same. This whole endeavor started when a development team was asking me about water and sewer system capital recovery fees, which are listed here in this chart, and then also these aid to construction fees. So this information one can find if you kind of do a deep dive into our ordinances. The goal here was to put it, right out there, being very straightforward, disclosing what these fees are. And I think that the development community is actually quite appreciative of that, so that they could do a quick calculation in that way. Sign permits are essentially the same, except we've been getting kind of more and more high-end signage in the city, and so we didn't really have anything. It's based on price, and we didn't have anything for signs that are over $15,000, so now we've got something there. You may or may not know that to have laying hens in the city of St. Mary's requires a permit, and that permit can be a little bit labor intensive. Our code compliance officer has to go and take dimensions and take pictures and do things like that. So we're proposing increasing that fee from $10 to $40 in order to cover their cost and their time. And then the occupational tax certificates round it all out. Any questions?
Thank you.
On the retroactive certificate of appropriateness, where does the $1,000 go to? Because I know we had talked before about that possibly going back to HPC to
Yeah.
aid them. And
Yeah, and I think it's a great model where, we're not being as harsh as to stop work. Now, don't get me wrong, there may be a time and place in future where stopping work is a good thing to do, but I haven't run into that yet. So this money we would have to work with finance to dedicate this money in a similar way that we do with the tree board, where they have a dedicated fund. We would dedicate this money to the historic district. Perhaps it could go to, a lot of our historic markers are made of materials that don't last very long in the city, and the commission has wanted to upgrade those or come up with a different material or replace them for property owners, so this might be a way to utilize those funds.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from council? Okay, I'd like to open it up to the public. If you have any comments or questions and like to come forward to the podium, please give us your name and address. All right, seeing no rush to the podium. Jamie, thank you for all the work on this, and we'll obviously
Great.
I'm assuming we're going to
Yes,
make
there's
some
a
good action
resolution
later
before,
on,
yes, thank you.
since we didn't have any questions beyond Mr. Nathamintos. Thank you. With this, we'll adjourn the work session. All right, see you back.